Hello, welcome to the What's the Crack bodybuilding podcast with your host, Neil Rennie. So today I've got a female guest on, and I've been trying to get a female guest on, and especially this girl for quite some time as well. So today's guest is Emma Quinn. Emma is the face behind Pose with Emma. She's also a competitor herself. She probably takes about half of Ireland to stage every year in terms of her posing. So it's really good to have her on. It'll be a different insight as well into things. So Emma, thank you for jumping on.
Thank you for having me.
So what I will say to anybody listening is there is a slight delay, right? So just bear with us. We'll try not to talk over each other as well. But Emma, I'd like to know just a little bit, I suppose, like about, I suppose, your background, more so like I think about how you get into the posing side of things. Then we'll talk about the competitive side of things later, because I think that is now like really very much your bread and butter.
Yeah. So basically, my name's Emma. I am the face behind Pose with Emma. I started coaching. I can remember the first girl coming to me, and I honestly thought she was taking the piss because I was like, "What do I know? Like, what do I know?" And I done it maybe for about a year, just as like a wee sideline, a wee hobby. There was no money exchange. There was nothing. And then more and more people started to come. My first posing client was 2015.
Right?
So I've been doing it now 10 years. But probably I would say properly, maybe the past 8 years.
Yeah,
And over the past year, it's basically my full-time job now.
yeah,
Um, I used to do posing sideline. I was a care worker for 14 years. I done PTing and then I done posing as well. And then the more I done it, the more I thought, right, you're good at this, you can do this. And basically, then it just snowballed to where I am now. I opened my own premises back in August. It'll be a year soon in Moneymore, and I travel the country. As you know, I go from Belfast, Bangor, Moneymore, Dublin, Lifford. I'm everywhere, and I help all categories. I am pretty skilled, well skilled in your PCA, your NABA, your FedEx, your MBFI, WNBF, muscle contest. I spend a lot of time educating myself,
yeah.
as in reading guidelines, rules. I reach out to federations. I reach out to head judges. I go and watch a lot of shows as well. So it's always a learning curve. No matter how many clients I have, I always learn something new, and it's it's always going to be a learning curve. As in, the more clients I get, the more I can help them, if that makes sense as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, I've been posing now, say 10 years.
Yeah. Like what makes a good posing coach for you? You know, because I think there's
Patient.
a few more kind of coming in and around Ireland.
Yeah.
One that seems to be doing the majority of like when you see a PCA stage, you're like, Jesus,
Yeah.
everybody's way in there.
Um, I think patience is massive because not everybody's learning skills are the same. I could teach you something and then have a guy in the exact same class, but he just doesn't register things the same way you do.
Mhm.
And I don't, I pride myself in acknowledging and respecting that everybody's different. And it could take us one or two sessions to actually find it right. What learning skills do you like? Do you like visual? Do you like verbal? Do you like, actual hands-on touching? It takes a lot of patience, understanding as well. Being honest too. I find the more I do this, the more I'm able to say, actually, no, that does not suit you.
Yeah.
Um, Whereas beforehand, I was near enough timid and scared to voice my opinion in case I offended somebody or in case their coach didn't like it. Whereas now I am more than confident to say, look, that's not good.
Yeah.
So patience, understanding, and willing to work.
Yeah.
Willing to work. Like people think I've got where I am now just by doing a couple online calls, a couple of sessions. This has been 10 years of just constant work, 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 work. And I wasn't always this busy. Like years ago, maybe 5 years ago, if I had 10 posting clients in a year, that was busy.
Mhm.
Whereas now, like I maybe have 31 to ones between a Thursday and a Sunday,
Yeah.
you know, and that's in person. So definitely patience, understanding, knowledge, work ethic, and being able to be open and honest about it too.
Yeah, perfect. I mean, I think that's it's very similarities obviously with my role as a coach as well. As you say, it's like it. at the start, if you're getting 10 clients in your online books, you're like, hey, this is all right. And I think a lot of people jump into these things now because they see posing coaches like yourself that are coaching however many. Look at a lot of people
Yeah.
are putting a lot of people on stage, for example, like the coaching side of things. It takes a hell of a lot of time and a hell of a
It
lot of
is.
background work too. Do you know what I mean? To get to that point. And like, did you find that it started building momentum? Was there like anything particular you went, oh, this is starting to like happen for me now? This is starting to grow.
Um, I think because I competed myself
Yeah.
and because I was always, from I've been no age, I've been always called wee Emma because I've always been small, you know. And whenever I went on stage, I was wee, I was tiny. And my first time on stage, I got help with posing, but the girl that helped me, she was lovely, but she posed me the way she posed. And it didn't do anything for my shape at all. And I was sent up a class. I was moved from tone to athletic. I didn't know that could happen. It terrified me. I cried backstage. My first experience on stage was terrible, absolutely terrible. But a lot of strangers were like, "Who are you? Your structure's really good, potential." And I was like, "Right, okay." So I had to learn very quickly, right? Do I either give up because I'm not a big girl, or do I learn how I can be seen on stage?
Yeah.
And I think because I could always hold my own against the bigger girls, I think that maybe gained a bit of respect from other people as well.
Yeah.
Because not everybody's going to walk on stage massive, you know, loads of muscle. And I think because I did look different than your normal, like big, you know, strong bodybuilder. I was petite, tiny, but I got really good conditioning.
Yeah.
And I just think the more I done it, the more I learnt. The more things I got wrong, the more things I learnt as well. And I just think by being present on social media, and going to shows as well,
Yeah.
and also being a nice person, like even whenever I used to compete years ago, I used to help girls in my class pose who actually were like on stage beside me.
Mhm.
Um, because in my head, if I can make some other female look amazing, and I know I have done that,
Yeah.
it's going to make me an even better competitor plus a better coach.
Yeah.
And I think just honestly, the word of mouth just literally it snowballed and snowballed and snowballed. And honestly, Neil, every year I think, right, that's it. There can't be any more newbies out there. And it's like they're here.
Oh, it's so big at the minute, like that's what like, I've always seen the majority of my clients tend to be like first timers. I would send a lot of my clients, but
Yeah.
I take a lot of female clients and a lot of them I tend to send them to yourself as well. Just
Mhm.
especially with the first timer shows now as well. There's just like new breeds of people coming all the time. And people have their opinions on it about maybe it's oversaturating it, but I think it's brilliant for like
Brilliant.
everybody involved. I never see like it's this kind of like old school mentality. It should be so niche where it's like it's brilliant for the sport as a whole to have people coming through, coaches, making a living, posing coaches making a living, and people just actually enjoying being up on
Mhm.
stage.
Mhm. And I think another reason too is I pride myself in I'm more than a posing coach. A lot of posing coaches would just basically teach you your quarter turns, your mantras, and that's it. Um, they don't tell you about walking on stage, you could be moved class, what happens if this happens, you know, and help with tan, bikinis, jewelry. Because a lot of male coaches don't really know how to help a female.
Yeah.
You know, even the likes of explaining the tanning process. And I think too that just makes people feel a wee bit more comfortable.
Mhm.
Um, and it's them wee personal touches that I think maybe sets me apart from somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like my personal preference would be like, okay, I have like some form of knowledge when it comes to fucking
Hmm.
makeup, tan, and all that, but
Yeah.
my preference would be to outsource that to somebody.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I found a lot of help in having, I suppose, other female coaches or like not a team that's working directly with, but indirectly. When I said
Yeah.
to yourself or Nikki there as well, to be able to help with that side of things, because I want somebody that I'm putting on stage to be presented at their best, and I do believe it takes a team to do that. Like for
100%.
me personally as well, is like with the posing something that, especially with even from my first year prepping clients, I was like, and being at a couple of shows and being like, this makes such a big difference. Like,
Hmm.
so like every single client I'm getting is like, go to a posing coach. Someone will
Yeah.
ask me to help pose them. It's like that's not my job. That's not
Yeah.
not
Hmm.
my thing. Do you know what I mean? So I'll always outsource that to people like yourself.
And I think that's a sign of a really good coach as well, because sometimes coaches try and keep their clients to themselves,
Yeah,
as in, this is mine, I will help you. And a lot of coaches know the basics, but a lot of people don't understand that even somebody's leg length, their arm length, their torso length, do they have a thick waist genetically? Sometimes even some clients, which I have, maybe have one leg a wee bit shorter, an arm longer, a wonky shoulder. And the more and more I do it, the more and more I can see, like, I can near enough say, okay, bad shoulder, do you sleep on that side? Have you hurt it? Whereas if it's your coach, they're so used to seeing you, it kind of doesn't
It
be
can numb
seen
it
as much.
a little bit. It kind of like when you're seeing somebody so often, sometimes even from a check-in perspective, it's like it nearly can numb your kind of thought process and
Yeah.
looking at them, like as well. So having that
Hmm.
outside opinion, even to be honest, I find like what I've done as well with yourself recently actually is that a girl and I was like, you go to her and say what category. I
Yeah.
would, your opinion on what category is she best fit. That's a couple of
Hmm.
times I've done that as well. And that makes
Hmm.
a difference too, because you're kind of going, they're in between. If they're posed a certain way, they might fit one or the other
Yeah.
slightly.
And I think if a coach is open minded and a coach works with the opposing coach, it makes my job and their job so much easier. Like, I've had examples where I've had wee junior bikini girls come to me and they're hitting side triceps and double biceps. Because I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, my coach loves this on me. And I'm like, we can't do that. We can't do that. And I've had coaches reach out and say, she will be doing that. I'm like, but she'll not, And I'm like, if you think that you know more, feel free just to go. I'm not afraid to say to a client, look, we don't vibe, we don't gel, we're not mixing. Your coach obviously knows more, so that this is not going to work. Um, I respect my brand and my business enough to be like, no, it's
Mhm.
not happening. But like you said, if the coaches work together, it can make the client's experience really good.
Yeah, no, it does. It very much helps. Like you see on like a lot of the times people are separated by how they pose. Like if you what like you can't really you can have the body, but if you're not posing it
Yeah.
right, it doesn't really matter. I
Mhm.
found I was going to you for posing. I think it's my last season actually.
Yeah.
And one of my main issues was like fucking keeping my waist in, like
Yeah.
never you hammering the brush shaft because
Yeah. Uh-huh.
wee things like that as well that maybe like somebody that isn't as experienced in it aren't picking up on.
I think a lot of people focus on like one thing. It's like if they're doing like say a side chest shot, they only focus on side chest. What about your obliques? What about your glutes, your hamstrings, your calf? You know what I mean? It's the entirety, right? It isn't just the side chest. And it's like building a jigsaw. All of them pieces have to fit together to make a beautiful picture. And if you're not nipping and tucking and tweaking, it's not going to fit, you
Yeah.
know. And I preach and preach and preach about these bloody quarter turns because people don't understand, right? Them quarter turns get you your placing.
Yeah.
Okay. Them quarter turns can set a good competitor apart from a fantastic competitor,
Mhm.
and I've had people whose bodies are good, but I know people who are better, but I have posed my guys to beat them and they have, which I love because my job has been done.
Yeah.
But I feel for the guy beside him that does look better, but he doesn't know how to hold himself,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I see it time and time again. But unless you're willing to reach out and ask for help, you're not going to get it.
But the quarter turns are an interesting one as well because like so many people you see, especially I find with the younger lads because they've watched a lot of Chris Bumstead
Yeah.
coming in, they've got the whole it's sweeping. They really got the posing routines. That's all they've thought
Yeah.
of, and they can't hit one quarter turn, which in
No, no.
reality that is the first thing that you're seeing as a judge when you walk out in that stage is that front relaxed. And if it looks shit and you haven't practiced that, you're down the line and you might get moved up after time. But reality wise, they're looking at them three people in the center of the stage.
Yeah. You want to be seen within them quarter turns. You want to be like, right, you want the judge to circle your name and say, right, I want to watch this lad here or girl. Because you see, if you have to fight for a placing in the mandatories, you're not getting a top placing.
Yeah.
And in the quarter turns, literally less is more. Just turn, just get into them quick.
Mhm.
A lot of younger ones, a lot of ones are watching Instagram and YouTube and they're trying to pose like the Olympia guys and it's not working. And sometimes I have to be like, look, you're not that person. You don't have that muscle mass. We can't pose like that. And sometimes it does go down the wrong way. But sometimes I have to be cruel to be kind to actually get them the pose to suit their physique.
Yeah.
you know, and I'm okay with being the bad person for say 10 minutes, because then once I get them posing, they're like, ah, right, okay, I get you now. So what I would do is I would always, for like a first time client, if it's online or in person, I'm like, right, show me your poses. And I don't say much. I just take a couple pictures, and then I'm like, right, let's explain this. And I will break it down as in everything starts from the ground up. No matter what you do, your legs must be set. And I will put them through their paces. I will break it down. I will do step by step, and I will show them how it's done properly for their physique. Then I will take another picture and I will go, look at this. And they will see, ah, right, okay,
Hmm.
you know. And I find visuals definitely a very good tool, because whenever somebody's dieting down, sometimes whenever they look in the mirror, they can't see what I see,
Yeah.
you know. Um, so that's definitely, it's a must till quarter turns nailed. And breathing as well. A lot of the bigger guys don't know how to breathe on stage,
Yeah.
and they start sweating, they start shaking, the tan runs, and yeah, it doesn't work. It does not work.
Yeah, that's the thing. The breathing being a massive aspect of it, and actually people's posing fitness. I think that people, as you say, maybe sometimes leave it as a little bit of an afterthought, as
Yeah.
to, right, where it should be pretty much one of your main priorities. Like at the end of the day, it's a sport, but it's a pageantry. It's what you're presenting.
Yeah.
So like how like actually how long out would you say somebody should be? Like, do you have like right frequency of posing towards the back end of your show? Are you tapering it off? Are you saying posing your off?
Um, I would say the second that you decide that you're going to compete, you need to be like, right, what do I need to learn here? What do I need to learn? I would say I have people now coming to me as late as a year out. You know, I have people now with me for next May. I have people with me from January that are coming to me, that are competing next April.
Mhm.
As soon as you decide to compete, you need to get on the ball straight away, because as your fatigue creeps in, the diet creeps in, the cardio gets higher, the food gets lower. Simple fit movements are going to feel really, really hard.
Mhm.
And that brain fog just tenfolds. I would always like, for example, I haven't competed since 2021, and I pose like 10 minutes every day.
Yeah.
You know, um, I would recommend 10 to 15 minutes every day, rather than doing nothing all week and then panicking on a Sunday and then being that pissed off. You're like, oh, screw this.
Yeah.
You know, it's better a little bit often. So then all of them wee things add up. Whereas a lot of people, they're like, oh, I've got this, but they'll spend an hour scrolling on TikTok.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll get you.
I've heard every excuse, but literally 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's all it takes. The more you put in your off season, the less work you'll have to do during a prep, which means less stress, everything else.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, I mean, I think admittedly, I've been guilty of it. Like, I would always like, I kind of hold myself accountable at points by like every week posting up my quarters and everything in on Instagram.
Yeah.
But I'll also pick and choose. Like, there's maybe I'm
Yeah.
not I try setting me off season. So I think like
Yeah.
definitely just keeping that frequency, like because it just drills it into your mind all the time, as you say. And it is very challenging at the back end to go, right, fucking 15 minutes of pose and cardio, it
Mhm.
becomes something that is taxing. You haven't learned it then. If it's not ingrained that movement, it's very hard. Like as you know, prep brain can kind of hit
Yeah.
in. It becomes very difficult to continue to do it.
Some people are actually messaging me now going, Emma, look, I want to compete next year, but I'm not lean. That's none of my business. I don't care what shape you are. As long as I can see a shape, as long as I can see shoulders, waist, and legs, that's all I need. I don't care if people pose in leggings and a top. I don't care. I don't need to see you lean to show you how to stand. Your conditioning, your leanness is none of my business. My job is to make you understand how to stand and why we do that in a certain manner, for stage. So it means then that whenever your shape does start coming in, then I'm like, ah, right, okay, pop this, tweak this, push this.
I was going to ask that as you get leaner, is there certain things you're saying, right? Actually, we maybe need to just change that a little bit, depending on how your body's coming in.
Yeah. A lot of it will be the midsection, okay? But a lot of people think the midsection is controlled by it. It's not, it's actually controlled by our hips. And you need to be able to throw your hips in some really weird positions. Because no matter what category we do, they want to see that tiny waist, right? And some people genetically have a thick waist, which there's nothing we can do. But if you can twist and turn your hips, I can make somebody's waist go from here to here.
Mhm.
But if you don't understand that in off season, can you imagine me trying to twist you and turn you whenever you're like 2 weeks out? You're
Right.
gonna want to end up punching me. Do you know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
else crying because there's no mental capacity there to understand what I'm saying. Because I've been there. I know what it's like.
Yeah.
You know. Um, so yeah, definitely footwork's a massive thing too. Footwork as in knowing where to place your feet in the quarter turns, where to put your feet in like your frontal bicep, your side chest, your rear. Your feet can actually make or break a back shot.
Yeah.
The amount of guys I see where I'm like, if I had 2 seconds just to fix your feet, their glutes would pop as well.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people don't understand the importance of the wee things. They just think of, oh, a big massive back and lean in.
I'm not.
It's them wee tweaks and nips and pops that can literally put you from a third place into a first place.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually got quite a few questions in for you today as
Okay.
well. So I want to be conscious because when people interact with the podcast, which I hope you do, that I want to make sure I ask the questions. So one being like, it's probably covered some of this stuff. Be interesting to hear your take on it though. Like, what's your top three tips for posing competitors? If you had to pick three.
Number one is do yourself the biggest favor and give yourself time
Mhm.
to learn. Don't be ignorant to it. This is a sport. It's not just jump on stage and baker's right. So time is definitely one. Two, educate yourself, knowledge as in right, what federation am I doing? Because just because you're doing bikini in one federation does not mean it's going to be the exact same for the other. Okay. And if you go in till, for example, PCA to MPC is miles apart, right? PCA till MBFI is similar, but it's still different. You need to respect the criteria and the federation. So give yourself time, educate yourself, and please God, start mobility as soon as possible. The amount of people that can deadlift 200 kilos, can bench press 150 kilos,
Yeah.
can squat shit ton of weight, but they can't turn their torso.
Yeah,
It's
that's a big one,
mental.
especially for the fellas. I find like that
Yeah.
rotation in the like thoracic. It's just there's none.
And like it's very humbling whenever I'm like, right, you've got shit ton of muscle, but you can't move.
Yeah,
So
no,
definitely time, education, knowledge, understanding, and mobility.
yeah.
And then everything else will come.
I think they're good. Is there any like is there a particular class that you personally like posing the most?
In the male classic, because I love just all
Yeah.
that, I love whenever people can just really, display themselves. In bikini and figure, obviously I've done both.
Mm.
But the the category for females would be masters bikini because they're just a different breed.
They're harder. They're the yeah. You look at their bikini girls, and they're always that bit more conditioned, a little bit harder. It's a category I like.
The masters bikini just they would run through a brick wall.
Yeah.
No matter what I say, what I do, a lot of them are parents. They work hard, single parents. There's no bother. There's no problem at all. Whereas I might have the odd wee junior, and it's like, but.
Well, I know.
Do you know what I mean? So definitely, I love them all, but I just find the Masters bikini it's like a vibe they give me.
Yeah.
You know, I do love parts of everything. For example, men's physique now is going more bigger, more muscular. It's good. The open boys class 1 to class 3, it's just muscle on muscle, which I love because then my eye for detail really has to come out.
Hmm.
As in I could literally pop somebody's elbow and their tricep could just drop out even more. In the figure classes, figure was dying out a wee bit a while there. There wasn't too many in, but it's starting to build back up. But I definitely think Bikini Masters and Classic would be
Yeah. I
the
can see.
ones I love posing the most, but I love them all.
With the classic, so you said actually like putting your own tweaks within the classic poses. Like, is there a room for that? This is out of my own interest too. Is there room for like classic style posing within, like, say, a bot in open bodybuilding?
Yeah, to me that makes a good body.
Yeah.
Like me, somebody that can do like a sprinkle of Classic,
Mhm.
it makes them an even better competitor on stage.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing more impressive than seeing somebody who is massive, but they've got a tiny waist and they can throw like say a crucifix, a victory pose. It's very impressive.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the open classes are very like thumpy on their feet, you know. So whenever I get a novice or class one to class three that's actually willing to be a wee bit more flowy in their like individual work, I'm like, right, let's go. You know, um, even though the individual work is not judged, you still want it to be well because
Yeah.
look at him, he looks brilliant.
That's yeah, that's exactly. I'm not talking myself, but that's exactly what I want personally this year. You know, it's because like, I see bodybuilding as like your own expression of yourself. You know, so it's like that posing, like is although it's not being judged, that's the thing personally that I look back on every year.
Mhm.
I'd be like, that's the
Yeah,
expression of myself that I put on stage. Whatever
yeah,
song choice, whatever flow with it as well. Obviously, the quarters and the compulsories that we talked about are a given,
yeah.
that's the element which I love about it. So actually putting some once you've nailed them things, the time and effort towards that, because honestly, in 10 years, 15 years time, that's the stuff you'll show your kids.
Hmm. Correct. But no, just so nobody's huffing and puffing, I love all the classes.
You could be don't sit in the fence, Emma. You're all right here in this one.
I love all the classes. So I do.
Well, here's one here actually. Fucking hell. What is like your biggest like ick? I suppose let's go with your big. You know what ick is? That's like a code
Yeah,
word for
yeah,
kids
yeah.
these days, apparently. The what's your biggest ick when it comes to let's say like posing for the first of all?
Right. So the biggest thing is, right, if, for example, bikini girls are doing a pose down and they start hitting a double bicep or a side chest or a side tricep and they don't know how to do it right,
Right.
I'm like, why? Why? You
Yeah.
know, um, my advice is if any bikini girl does want to do it, which I don't advise,
Mhm.
please know how to do it properly. Otherwise, you're not going to look good. I know it's good, entertaining, but whenever you watch back the videos, you're going to be going, "Oh, what was I doing?"
You just go head and hands, do you? Make
Yeah,
sure.
you know, and just like, why didn't she ask me how to do a rear double bicep? You know what I mean? In regards to the guys, see men's see guys pushing and shoving.
Oh fuck, I know. That was happening a
No,
lot there, that last PCA show.
no, no, should not be happening. The bodybuilders, it's a bit of banter entertainment. It looks good, but men's is like it's bitchy, it's rough looking. No, so definitely females doing their own poses, and probably the way sometimes they can like they push your glutes out too far, and it can be quite. It can
Aye,
give the wrong look.
you know what you had for breakfast kind of thing.
Yes,
What meal one
yes.
was.
There's a fine line between sassy and just trashy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a fine line, and at the end off, you want to give off an image of you're a lady, you're elegant, you're beautiful, you're strong. You don't want to cross that line and be like the other end because it's not good.
No,
So
that's the
there,
thing, especially with the female, like the bikini classes, there is that like the bit sometimes I struggle more with is like I feel like sometimes it's over sexualized, when that's not the sport because the men aren't getting over
no,
sexualized, you know what I mean?
no,
And especially when there's juniors on there, you're like, oh, it's a
no.
bit much, that'd be my personal like I just don't personally I don't like to see it. And even some of like the I suppose older school federations that I initially had people in, it was like with the girls, it was very much like nearly Cilla Black was interviewing them and stuff. It was like that's the bits that really get to me,
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
in general, what's is in when it comes to like the bodybuilding sort of yeah, the wider sort of scheme of it all, is there anything that you kind of like what are your things that you're like, if I could change that, I would change it?
Um, Me personally, I think there's too many shows.
Mm-hmm.
They are becoming quite diluted, which means that there's people who are prepping, working so hard, and obviously we can't dictate who turns up, but maybe you have like one person in a class, and even though it's not their fault, that must be hard. You want to go up, you want to, showcase, as in fight to win. Um, I just think I love there's loads of shows, but I also don't,
Yeah.
especially in Ireland, because you want to see a lineup. You
Yeah.
want to go, you want to get the atmosphere like back in our like because nowadays,
Mm-hmm.
back in the old days, it was like the place was bunged. There was maybe 10, 15, 20 girls in a lineup. And I know how I felt walking on there and being like, right, let's go, let's have, and I just want every female, to feel how I did, as in, right, I earned that,
Yeah.
you know. Um, Maybe also just there's people that are helping that maybe don't understand,
Mm-hmm.
maybe get more education on it, a lot of coaches. Some coaches are afraid just to like outsource help.
Yeah.
So they are. And I just think a lot of coaches need to explain to their clients like it's an expensive sport. You
Hmm.
need to plan for this. Um, and I just think just you're doing a very good job, as in you're bringing us all together again. Whereas maybe if you had asked me this, say last year, there was a massive divide. There was no real support. There was no real nothing. And I think we need more people like you that's trying to bring us all together instead of kind of like, oh, she's with that coach, she's with that coach. I'm not speaking to her. And I'm going, you're both doing the same thing.
I think that's the thing. That was literally the reason why I kind of went into this. I was over in England for a time, and it was like everything. It felt like very much in like sectors, And then coming over here, well, this country itself,
Yeah.
like
Hmm.
it likes
Yeah.
to bring division. So for me, it's like I am that sort of personality where it's like I just want it to get people together, and obviously no one's doing things like this.
Yeah.
It's such a niche sport anyway. And realistically, yes, it's busy, but it's still not that busy. Do you know what I mean?
No.
So it's like
No.
we can all be together and sort of create something here. Like I hear of the old days. I was probably just before the old days. I was in that
Yeah.
internet period when I hear about NABA shows and it was stacked and rammed with people and it was like where all the best bodybuilders went to on
Hmm.
that show to compete against each other. That I love the idea of that, of having a show here where it's like, right, that's the show we all want. That's the show we're all going for.
Yeah.
People like yourself doing like a seminar on it. Like we're even
Hmm.
elevate the brand as well, obviously down at the muscle contest thing. Like try
Hmm.
and take something even within that PCA show potentially where there is like, it make a day of it or make a
Yeah.
week of it. I think there's a huge potential for that in Ireland.
I can remember in the old days, no matter what stage you walked out on, everybody cheered for everybody. It didn't matter who was coaching you, nothing. Literally, you maybe had random strangers saying, "What's her name?" and they were cheering you on.
Yeah.
Whereas now you maybe hear the odd, "Go on," you hear nothing. You hear nothing.
Yeah.
And I don't care what anybody says. Do you see if you hear people cheering you and supporting you, it makes you want to just keep going and like because enjoy it more. So it does. So I think if we could get that back, it would definitely turn a corner.
I think it can do. Like I was
Yeah,
actually
it's going that way.
I guess this is getting me a bit off topic because I want to get actually onto your upcoming comeback. But
Yeah.
like I was really sort of considering trying to pull some like coaches together and have some sort of like or speaking with the PCA and having some sort of like either day event or weekend event where it was trying to get like all like everybody was at bodybuilding together under one
Mhm.
building, putting something on, getting like getting a few brands on board as well. So if you are listening and you are interested in that sort of thing, just reach out and contact me because it would be interesting to have people like yourself there, other like supplementation brands, other coaches, a lot of competitors there. Because I really
Mhm.
do think that there is something there, maybe once a year, and trying because there was the what was it? It was up in used to be up in the Titanic Quarter, Emma. It was like a
Oh, yeah. I competed up there. I know what you're talking about. It
yeah,
was
that was a long time ago.
Peter
Peter Baird, wasn't it?
Peter Baird. I ran it. Yes.
So
Yeah.
something along them lines, but kind of brought forward now a little bit. Do you know what I mean? So that's if you are interested, let me know because that'd be something I'd like to hear more on. But let's get back to yourself, Emma, because we talked a little bit posing, which is actually very, very interesting because it's not something that we maybe probably not touched on enough. Actually,
Yeah.
to be fair, within all this, we're talking about meal prep and fucking all the
Yeah.
same. But you're making a comeback to stage after how many years? 4?
Or yeah.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
what made you bite the bullet on that one and go that way? Since you're
So
anyways.
obviously I had a really good run at competing, and then whenever you're just like, right, I've ticked these boxes. You mean I done athletic for years, and then I jumped into bikini trained, and I done it, and I loved it, and I done the British finals for FitX, and I got fifth place, and I was like, right, job done. I just there was no want, no need to do any more, and then I took a breather, and then I started doing high rocks, um, in Macrofelt in Ray Academy, and then I actually went to get High Rocks tickets for Dublin in November this year. Couldn't get them for love nor money. Could not get them, and there's always been an itch for competing since I stopped. And then I was speaking to Phil, who coaches me, and I was like, Phil, look, I cannot get High Rocks tickets. What am I going to do? I was going to actually go to Valencia to compete.
And what was
I
that?
met Valencia.
In a PCA Spain or something like that,
No,
was it?
no, for the High Rocks.
Oh, sorry, right, okay.
Yeah. And I'm never going to be a world champion in High Rocks. I'm never going to be anybody important. But it was just something just to do. And then Phil's message back was, that's a sign. And I'm just like, okay. So we done a wee photo shoot there a couple of weeks ago, dropped like £3. Only used the Elevate brand supplements, and the look was pretty good. So I'm like, right, maybe I can jump back on stage. Because I hadn't done bodybuilding training solely for quite a while, I didn't think I had that same structure. And then literally just bringing back in structure, my food. I'm up training legs with Rennie now every week, which is
Good luck.
horrendous, but it's good. My body is just responding so quickly. So we're definitely competing. I'm not 100% sure on what category just yet. You know, I'm going between two. But no, I definitely will be on stage at some point this year.
And is Galway still, is it? Galway
Yeah.
BC.
It's just I'm away on a holiday at the start of September, and to be honest with you, I'm not willing to sacrifice my business
Yeah.
to go on stage in September. I have too many clients on stage. To me, it would be quite selfish of me to be like, right, I'm competing now. I want to get them all on, all sorted, and then I can then go, right, okay, it's my turn now.
Yeah.
I've worked too hard to build a brand till let it go tits up, you know.
I think that's brilliant that because I think that's something that I really have to consider as my sort of coaching's get busier is like if I'm going to compete, well, first of all, is it worth it? Because it
Yeah,
does too much from you, but picking the right time, I always a lot busier earlier in the year, and
yeah,
then slacker kind of come September time at this minute in time anyway. But with even myself, like my future in bodybuilding will very much be dictated on how many clients are going on stage and when and where. So that's the thing. But have you seen have you got that itch back for it? Like, do you where you're at now when it's come to the mindsets around the bodybuilding? Is it different than what it was when you were competing, 4 or 5 years ago?
I don't sweat the wee things. I basically I'm coached by Phil. I literally, he tells me what to do, what to eat. I go to Vinny, he trains legs, and I just literally tick the boxes. Whereas whenever I used to compete, I was like, I felt all this pressure for no reason. For no reason. At the end of we all want to win, okay? But really and truly, you see by that Monday, it's old news.
Forgot about it.
It's old news. So I'm a lot more chilled, a lot more calm. I don't feel pressure. Maybe I will as this goes on. But one of the main reasons is, right, I'm gonna document a lot of it as in my struggles. A lot of people think because I coach posing, I'm perfect. No, I'm not. I trip, I stumble, I do things wrong. And I think it's gonna just be a very good educational tool for maybe first timers that get annoyed and pissed off because they can't get it perfect. You know, um, and I want to, it just to be like to say, here, go and watch that.
Yeah.
I have been doing this for what, 12 years, and I still mess up, but it's okay.
I think people respond to seeing the real thing. I know
Yeah.
I Instagram stories and stuff. It's like people like to see what's actually going on behind the scenes because it is all glamour and stuff on stage, but like the
Hmm.
process of getting there, it isn't necessarily that. There's a lot of like work goes into it, much like anything, really. So
Yeah.
having, especially like as a female showing that as well. I think there's a lot of males maybe show it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Over here a little bit more, but like actually as a female, be able to sort of show that and that like even trying to get a female on the podcast was a little bit more challenging. It's something like my very first episode of this was Nadia, and it
Hmm.
was like the biggest episode that I had by about fucking
Yeah.
times. So it's great actually getting a female on their perspective on training side of things as well.
Hmm. It's just, I'm going into this now. I have a very good team around me. Very, very good team. And I think because I'm always helping others, I feel a different level of support this time.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like, whenever people, you think they have your back,
mhm,
this feels completely different.
yeah,
Even like voice notes from, say, Vinny or Jill Wade, I'm kind of going, Jesus, like, it's always me that's giving it to them, and now I'm getting it. And it's like, it can be quite emotional as well, because a lot of people don't see that side. And, they just see us training and cardio and, tired. Excuse me. They don't see the friendships we build as well.
yeah. No, that's to me is one of the best bits of bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Like having some sort of impact on somebody when you hear that back, like even, you're doing your best, so whatever the result, but when you're hearing them messages, like without needing massive external, like, affirmation, it's still always nice to get that
Hmm.
message. I mean, you're doing something right. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Definitely.
What a How has this prep looked? Obviously, it must be early enough days, 12, 14 weeks out, is it?
Well, I literally done the photo shoot, couple pound off, and then because I'm going away on holidays in September, I just said to Phil, I'm not dieting on a holiday. For one, my mum would probably disown me because they give me 10 years of me dieting. So Phil would say I'm like 16, 17, 17 weeks out with me. I'm just like, no, just tell me like it's 7 weeks out, 6 out. Um, my preps never really went from about my second or third show in, my longest prep was like 10 weeks.
And you're sitting relatively now, Emma.
Yeah. So yeah, it's more just trying to maintain and build, and try and get that fullness back because obviously high rocks, it's very intense, and then just getting used to that bodybuilding split as
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
because it's been a while since I've done that and my body was sore for say about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it was very
Look
sore.
after legs with Rennie, probably.
Yeah, and you're not going to say no to that man. He's standing behind me whenever I'm about to squat, and he's like, you know what feels worse? Coming second, and I'm like,
Fuck you.
but no. So just ticking the boxes, eating the food, nothing, just old school training and eating. That's it. Because whenever I first started training, Mark Getty actually prepped me first, and Mark Getty was basically as old school as you like,
Yeah.
as old school, and I thrive on that. I don't like all this fancy macro, just give me food, give me training, and I'll go and do it.
Mhm. Yeah. What class would you like to compete in? If you ever choosing one, like what the one you would like to actually do?
My heart and soul is with athletic because that's where I was. And then whenever I stepped out of athletic, I went into bikini trained. Now I was a big bikini trained girl. Um, but it's whether or not my structure is going to hold in bikini trained. Now also I'm 36 now, so I can go into bikini masters as well.
Right. Okay.
So there's three options. So it really I would love athletic, but I'm okay with if I'm a stronger bikini girl,
Yeah.
I'll do that.
It'll be interesting to see that sort of unfold then as well.
Yeah,
And even I suppose as you say, like how you're posing to kind of manipulate that look to make it
yeah.
it fits within that class too.
Or what we have decided is, and I maybe will do a couple shows and see what look I actually prefer.
Yeah. Would you go round
You
the
know.
IFBB route?
Um, I think I would be too small in figure
Mhm.
for that. I could do bikini because their front pose is like PCA side pose. You
Yeah.
know, I just don't think I'm big enough for a figure, because they go in the different height groups.
Yeah.
And some of the girls my height they're massive.
It's another league there. Like obviously that
Yeah,
even Contest Ireland show as well. They run the second one of them too. Do you
yeah,
get clients posing for that?
a lot, yeah, a lot.
Think like just out of interest, do you think that'll be a busy show?
I do. I think people are going to see, are they more PCA look or are they more NPC?
Yeah.
Especially the bikini girls. Um, a lot of the guys are going to see what they need to do and improve to maybe attempt to get their pro card. Because it's one thing doing PCA, NABA, and all that, but if NPC Two Bros is your goal, you need to go and step on that stage and see, right, where do I stand, in a big lineup.
It's interesting too. It's a good time the week after PCA. So if you're kind of like, I sort of only seen it come up and I thought, well, it would make sense to try and
Yep.
that route anyway. It's only a week away, like so it is.
Mhm.
So it makes sense to hold on. But Emma, I'm always conscious of time. People and everybody else's like attention span sometimes
Yep.
too. So I always end with like, what is the best piece of advice that you've ever been given? That's almost
Um, there's two things. One thing was literally it was Mark Eddy, and I was yapping and gurning about, oh my goodness, look at her, look, I was stressing. And he goes to me, you pay me, I do the stressing, you do as you're told. That was it. And
yeah,
like that there, the stress just went.
yeah,
And then the next piece of advice is I preach it. Once you do this, it makes sense. You need to own your look.
Yeah.
Own
Yeah.
your look. You can take influence, you can take admiration, you can take all that stuff, right, by looking at somebody else, but that's not you. Okay? Stop looking at other people and saying, oh, I want her shoulders, I want her back. Whenever you start focusing on you and you start working on you and posing for you, you will literally transform. And I know it sounds cliche, I know it sounds silly, but prime example is, if you imagine, right, there's 10 peacocks in a field, right? Peacocks, they're quite ugly birds, right? But see, as soon as them feathers come up, they're beautiful, they're stunning. And if you walk into a field and you see 10 peacocks just standing there, it's boring. But if you walk into a field and you see one peacock and their feathers are up, you're like, Jesus, look at that bird, isn't that beautiful? So I preach to my girls, you need to peacock yourself, get them feathers out, be seen. And it's like a wee switch just comes on and it does work. So that's definitely, you're paying somebody, let them stress, you do the work and own your look.
That's Emma. That's going to be an analogy that actually says be a peacock.
Peacock, yeah.
Yeah, Emma, where can people find you? If they're wanting to sort of get in touch with you.
So obviously Instagram, pose with Emma One. I also have a website and there is a booking system on my website. I'm based in Moneymore, that's in between Belfast and Londonderry. I also go to Belfast and Bangor, and I would travel to Lifford, and I'm in Dublin 3 to 4 times a month as well.
Everywhere then.
Yeah, yeah. And I love it. I love it.
No, I mean, that was class having you on. As I said, I wanted like something like yourself on a little bit of a different sort of take and perspective on bodybuilding and what goes into it. So be interesting to sort of follow along definitely over the next sort of few months with like your own personal journey. Because you always
Yeah.
seem nice to see you sort of getting on stage again after a bit of time out. But yes, guys, thank you very much for listening. And every single week we're going to have an episode up now. That's the plan going forward. And then get behind the podcast. As I sort of mentioned, I have a lot of interest in putting on a couple of events or trying to make something a little bit more and getting a lot of people together. So if you're interested in it, drop me a message. We'll go back and forward on it as well. And as always, like, share, subscribe to the podcast. And if you're looking for me, Instagram at Neil Rennie Coaching. But cheers, guys.